Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. My name is Patricia, I'm a UX UI designer from Berlin, and today I want to do a quick Q&A. I ask you guys on Instagram if you have any questions, anything that you want me to answer, and I got a lot of questions, so I will answer them in this Q&A. So this is a good chance to really talk about some cool things that are coming up and I'm working on, and things that might be interesting for you. So I would say let's get started. So one of the questions I get asked the most also on Instagram is, how do you get started as a freelance designer or freelance UX designer? So as many of you know, I'm working as a freelance UX UI designer in Berlin. I actually started my career at an agency, so I didn't really work as a freelance designer from the beginning, but I switched after like 2 years or so working at the agency. And for me, the reason why I actually switched to freelance, it was not on purpose, so I wasn't really like planning to be a freelance designer. It was more, it just happened, to be honest. And so when I was working at an agency, I got some jobs, from left and right, from friends or people I met in Berlin, or people I know from networking or so, and they needed some support, some UX support, so they asked me for help. So I started to do freelance side on the work besides my like normal day-to-day life. And at some point it just really got too much. I got a lot of like projects coming up and a lot of things really happened, so I decided to actually quit my full-time job and go into like the freelance world, which was just back then like still very, very scary for me. So not something that I thought like is super natural. And what really helped me to really get the foot in the door, like into the freelance world, was first of all already have some projects lined up. Have like a really wide network of people, knowing a lot of people who also know what I'm doing, and already starting to present myself online, not in the way that I'm doing it right now. So when I started, I didn't really have even like Instagram or so. I only had like my website, and I was a little bit active on LinkedIn, but not like now. And I think this is something I would definitely do differently. So when you're thinking about moving to freelance, here are a few recommendations also from the lessons I learned on the way. So the first is really build a network even before you thinking about working as a freelance designer, because most people will reach out to you once they need help, right? So make sure that when you talk to people, let them know what you're doing, let them know like what kind of projects you want to work with, and try to meet a lot of people, be really open and talk with them. Networking is not really about just pretending to like someone and then adding them on LinkedIn, but this is about like really building true relationships. And this will help you so much when you're a freelance designer, because like someone needs to give you the jobs or the projects. So it's really helpful if you have people who really trust you, who know what you're doing, and who will also give you some projects once they're coming up in their agency or within their projects. And this also might be people who are not working in design, right? So could be people who are working in marketing, for example, or any other projects, or project management or whatever, and then they need a UX designer, so some support. So this is my first tip. My second tip is, and I think this is something that I would definitely do differently if I would start over now, is to be really present online. So back then I haven't been that present, but I realized how important it is right now. So really be open on LinkedIn, have like a great profile there laid out, have a website online, be active on socials. This can be Instagram, this can be Twitter, depends a little bit on your target group and your overall personal branding. But really building a personal brand will help you so much. as a freelance designer. I personally think that this will help you anyway, even if you're not freelancing, also if you're working full-time. But this is like such a push for your career, because this will brings you opportunities like interviews in magazines maybe, or even like workshops and talks, and that really helps you to get seen by clients. So this is tip number 2, super, 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 super important. And my tip number 3 is really think about the business part. And this is, I feel, for most creatives, and has also been for me, one of the most trickiest things. So when I'm talking about business, I don't mean only, you know, like taxes and stuff. I really mean about like, how do you charge? What is your offer? What is your target audience? What are your target clients? How do you reach them, and what do you offer them? And already think about what do you want to sell? How is your offer? And I think this is a really good thing to just like take a day or so, get some post-its and really think this through. Like, what kind of work do you want to get? How do you need to present yourself online to get that work? How do you want to sell it? Do you want to sell like on a day rate? Do you want to sell like a fixed price, for example? How do you want to get those clients? Do you want to reach out to them through like networking? Do you maybe have some friends who working or who did work with any of those clients and can do an introduction? So really think about the business side, and prepare everything that you can do. Like in Germany, for example, there are a lot of like administrative things that you need to think of. For example, like how to do your taxes. Do you need an accountant who can support you, so you can already look out for someone? There are also a few really cool tools that I can recommend that I absolutely love, that are very helpful for me. Also like to track my time and to track like taxes and stuff. So in Germany we have also the Mehrwertsteuer that you can get back if you buy something like for your business. So I have a really cool tool for it, which is called Safdesk. Not sponsored or something like that, but I can highly recommend it. It's an awesome tool, which is super, super helpful. Then it's also really cool to work with Notion, for example. You can write down all your clients, all their contacts, anything that you can do for them, and really write down everything that you can. That can also be, as I have that in my phone, any emails that you write to clients, any responses that you write to clients, that you already like write, already prepare everything, that you don't feel overwhelmed. Because the beginning can be quite overwhelming. You have a lot of things coming up, need to organize a lot of things, and especially when you're alone, then it's quite a challenge. But I'm probably going to do like a video about going to freelance and talking about a little bit more how to also outsource things, how to do taxes, and also like the whole business part of freelancing. Yeah, probably in one of the next videos. Also, I think one last thing about freelancing, I feel if you think it's a good time and you want to try it, I can only support that. So feel free to try it. And even if it doesn't work out, or if you feel like I don't like it, because there are definitely some downsides with working as a freelance designer, then you can still go back. And this is like something that helped me so much, that keeping this thought, I don't need to be a freelance designer for the rest of my life. I can work at a company when I want. I can do something else, so I'm still really free, and the same for you. So it's just not like a lifetime decision. You can always go back, and right now or today is like the best time for like looking for a job as a UX designer or product designer. There are a lot of hires, not only in Germany and all over Europe and the US, so you won't get a problem to really find a job. And I assume that this will really even keep rising, because like the importance will even grow. Okay, question number 2, and this is also related to freelance design and business design. Do you have a business account for your finances? Yes, I do. In the beginning, I didn't have one, and then I talked with my accountant, who recommended me to just get a business account, to have like all my incomes and my outcomes really laid down, all my business in and outcomes only in this one account. Super helpful, and also something I would recommend everyone to do that. I have my business account with N26. I'm super happy about it. I can't complain. It's very nice and very yeah, it just works pretty well. So I do all my incomes go to that specific accounts, and I pay everything that's related to my business. That could be like my desk, for example, or even like a lamp that I'm only using for work, or all my equipment through that account. So that everything that I can get like taxes back, for example, or that's really like related to my business is on that credit card. Awesome, and makes it so much easier, and you don't get confused. And then I have different other accounts. I can talk about that in another video, I think. But the most important thing is that I have like some kind of like a salary that I pay myself, even though I might be earning more. I just have like a certain salary that I pay myself every month, which really helps me to make sure that I have enough money on my account if I need to, pay some taxes back. Because like in Germany, it's a bit complicated. You don't pay taxes right away. You have some kind of like, you pay some taxes based on your income of the last year. And after the year, it gets calculated, and you need to usually like pay a little bit more taxes if you make more income. So you obviously need to make sure that you really have that money and that you didn't spend it. So this is super, super helpful. Do you do one-on-one mentoring sessions? So right now I am not doing that. I did that actually during COVID, during COVID-19, I think like 1.5 years ago, but I can't do it anymore. I'm just like pretty busy with many things, so I really want to have focus for that. I am not going to say that I will never go back and never do mentoring again, because I really enjoy it, and I think that it could be really helpful for many people, but right now I'm not doing it. If you want to learn anything from me, as you know, I have courses, I have things on YouTube, I have a lot of things on Instagram, I'm doing a lot of live streams, so feel free to join that. And there's also another cool things coming this year, but yeah, I will announce that on Instagram, which also will be very helpful. Our next question: how do you handle subjective feedback? For example, I don't really like that layout. And this is like such a good question, because I feel like everyone who presented anything ever to a client or stakeholders knows that problem, that you get feedback on something like very, very subjective, like I like that color, or I don't like that color, or I would like to have this and that. And if you haven't noticed that, like in some presentation, just like look out for it and see if things are coming up. Because I think like the most important thing is see, is that like something that is really based on like research or any like business values that you define, or is it just like as an very subjective feedback kind of? And what I usually do is I ask a lot of questions. So when I present a wireframe, for example, or when I present a design to a client, which happens almost every week or so, I present like where I am and what I'm doing. And then from time to time, depends on how experienced clients or people generally are. It's also like, I think, like a pretty good indicator. If they are not that experienced when it comes to like digital product development, they giving you more and more subjective feedback, because they don't know how to judge it, right? Like they don't know how to give you feedback that is really helpful. So they don't mean it in a bad way, they just don't know better. And I think this is important to keep in mind. It's not like a personal thing, it's just they don't know better to give you feedback that's helpful. So what I usually do is I ask a lot of questions. So when they say, I don't like the layout, or what was the question again? The layout is not pleasing. I ask like, oh, what do you mean by not pleasing? Explain me, what do you mean by it? And then they say, for example, like, I don't really like the colors. I feel it's like very aggressive, and I don't really like the images, for example. And then I'm like, what do you don't like about them? Is it? And then at some point, they might even realize, is that a personal thing, or do you think other users might feel the same? And then they even might say, yeah, it might be a personal thing. And if they still really keep with the thought that the design is not pleasing and you feel it's very subjective and they can't really articulate what is not pleasing or what needs to be changed, you can always offer to say like, okay, let's do some user research. Thanks for the feedback. Always be nice. I mean, feedback is always good. Say, yeah, thanks for the feedback. I'll write that down and I will check that. So I'm planning some user research or some testing sessions and then see what users really respond. And I think this is like the best answer. And when you do a few user research sessions and really see that users really find this pleasing for different kind of reasons, you can show the recording afterwards or the synthesis, and then there's not like the argument around it anymore. So then it gets pretty obvious that this is like a personal thing. So also a really good tip, and I would say like the best tip probably ever when it comes to articulating design decisions. Really go back and argument on either research or a business. Then it's really helpful, and those are really good arguments. They're not personal. You have either like some data, some pure data that really supports your design, or you have some qualitative user research and some interviews that really support your design as well. So I think be really strategic about it. Same when you present your design. Explain why you chose certain elements or certain designs, what is the reason for it, why did you choose it, and where is the whole design really coming from. And please really keep in mind, it's not a personal thing. People just don't know better. So when they don't give you good feedback, they don't know how to do it. You need to teach them, you need to, help them to give you good feedback. And I think this is very different, and you will also see that. I think when you present your design, for example, if you are a junior designer and you present your design to a senior designer, you get very, very different feedback that will help you much, much more. Like a really good designer will never say, I don't like that color. But it will help you to understand why the color is maybe not a good fit that you chose, right? So this is like very different than talking to a client or a stakeholder who don't know about design in general. So you need to help them, right? So you really need to help them how to give you feedback, how to talk about the design as well. So you can't really expect them to help you make a design decision, because this is like your job. Okay, I hope this was helpful. And another question. So how is Berlin as a UX designer? So as you know, I'm living in Berlin. So right now I'm like half in Berlin and half in Zurich, because my boyfriend lives in Switzerland, in Zurich. So I spend a lot of time here, which is not a problem. I'm working remotely, and I can work wherever I want, which is really nice. So I'm really enjoying the time here in Switzerland as well. But the most part of the year I'm still in Berlin. I think it's the best city to live in as a designer. It's a very creative city. It really has a good vibe, and a lot of creative people, a lot of tech people are there. So it's really easy also to get started as a junior designer. There are a lot of really cool tech companies. There are a lot of startups. Also for freelancers like me, it's awesome because there are a lot of people around, a lot of people who really want to network, who need support. So it's really easy to meet people, to get to know the people that you want to meet. So a lot of like-minded people. So this is what I personally really love about Berlin. We have a lot of meetups. I actually haven't been to any meetups since COVID, to be honest. But we used to have a lot of meetups, which was nice. So some kind of agencies, for example, like Fjord, for example, a really cool agency in Berlin, really close to where I live, organizes like once a month a service design meetup. So you go there around 7 p.m. after work, you get a beer and some pizza, and you just network, you meet people. It's also really nice if you're looking for a job or anything, or if you just want to meet people. And then you have some presentations, so some people talk about something, you have like a talk. Sometimes also like a little workshop style. This is what Fjord did once when I went to a meetup. So you needed to like group and do something. So it was really nice to like meet new people. So very, very cool. At the end, you stay there for some networking. So yeah, this is pretty nice. And I absolutely love that about Berlin, because you can really meet people, and this is like a different meeting people than like just texting people on LinkedIn. Yeah, also we have a lot of events, a lot of like how do you say, like communities and support for women, also for women in tech, which I really love. And overall, like a really good community, a really good vibe. I love living in Berlin. It's an awesome city if you're a creative. A lot of job opportunities, really great, I would say, work-life balance. A lot of things that you can do after work. We have a lot of art, museums, not so much really beautiful countryside, to be honest, but we have a nice river, the Spree, and a lot of things to do, so you won't regret it. It's a very inspiring city, so I feel, yeah, it's very like, it's an emotional city where you can experience many different things. So an awesome city. I can highly recommend it. Also a question that I get asked so much on Instagram especially, it's how to get started with UX. How can you teach yourself? How can you teach yourself UX? That's such a good question. If you want to have a more like detailed explanation of it, feel free to check out the video that I did about it, like my 8 steps or something like that, to teach yourself UX. But I think in general, I would say you don't need to study UX today to really become a good UX designer. There are many ways to just teach it yourself for free. First of all, read the right books. There are a lot of books that really teach you the basics of it, like what UX is, what are UX laws, what are design principles. Super important. And also do research, for example. Need to check out my Instagram. I'm sharing a lot of books there. I did a lot of like reels around that topic with really good books. And I think books are the best resource when it comes to knowledge. Like, books are so cheap and you get so much knowledge through books. I think this is so magical. You can pay so much money for like a university degree or for any courses or stuff, but like books, where you pay like 10 or I don't know, $30 or something like that for a book, and you have like everything compressed in this little package. There's so much knowledge. You just need to read it, make some notes, and you get so much out of that. Then number 2 is, or like my second tip is, really think about practicing. So don't be afraid to do anything wrong. Just practice. Download a design software. That can be Adobe XD, this can be Figma, this can be Sketch, or whatever you use, and just get started. If you need some support in the beginning, there are things like Behance Live, for example, or Adobe Live with daily creative challenges, where you get a challenge, for example, design an onboarding for an app, and you just get started, which is super helpful. Just like practice. You can download it, you can ask for feedback. You can also download different UI kits for those tools, which are free, and just see how they structured the components to use them, and really think about how design really works. And my tip number 4, and I think this is awesome, that really pushes you forward, is meet people and ask for feedback. It can be through hackathons, for example. It's a great opportunity to really meet and learn. It can also be online courses. That could be, like the courses I am doing on Skillshare, for example. So definitely check them out. I also have a 1 month for free Skillshare voucher. So if you want to check out Skillshare, just click on the link and you can try it for free. And check out a lot of really cool courses that are helpful, very cheap. This is for free, but even if you pay for it, it's very affordable. There are a lot of really great courses from Interaction Design Foundation, for example. Google has university, or like a UX degree, which is super great. on Coursera are really good courses. Some are also on Udemy, but not every course there is great, to be honest. So I would be a little bit cautious about that. And yeah, there are a lot of really good courses. Also Hyper Island offers a few really cool courses, a little bit more expensive, but also helpful to meet new people. So yeah, a lot of tips if you want to learn more about those, especially how to get started with your UX topics. Just check out the video that I created about that topic. Yes, I think that's it. I hope I answered your question as well. I hope this was helpful for you. And if you want to know anything, you can just reach out to me on Instagram. Feel free to say hello or hi, or yeah, I always love to connect and yeah, just hear what you're up to, what you're doing, and have a lovely day, everyone. Enjoy it.